Donald Trump, as you know, last night announced a European travel ban during his speech from the Oval Office. Take a listen.
After consulting with our top government health professionals, I have decided to take several strong but necessary actions to protect the health and well-being of all Americans. To keep new cases from entering our shores, we will be suspending all travel from Europe to the United States for the next 30 days. The new rules will go into effect Friday at midnight.
That ban is a big shock, and make no mistake, it's being condemned by European leadership. CBC's Salima Shivji is on the story live from Washington. Trump's address, Salima, also caused some confusion. How so?
It sure did, Suhana. Actually, Donald Trump really stuck to his script, using a teleprompter for this address to announce the ban on travel from much of Europe. But there were important details missing from that script that he was following. The White House later having to clarify that this ban does not affect American citizens, nor does it affect immediate family members of American citizens. U.S. permanent residents are also exempt from this. And this morning, Vice President Mike Pence, who is also in charge of the country's COVID-19 response team, actually was clarifying further on CNN.
Americans coming home will be funneled through 13 different airports. They'll be screened, and then we're going to ask every American and legal resident returning to the United States to self-quarantine for 14 days.
Now, Mike Pence is also defending this decision to move forward with a travel ban on much of incoming traffic from much of Europe, saying that it is important. That is the epicenter of the outbreak is Europe right now, and this is a way to stem the spread of the virus. After Trump really seemed to blame European officials in his address last night, kind of saying that they, had not imposed the proper travel restrictions, and that the outbreaks and clusters in the U.S. were seeded by European travelers coming into the United States. There was also another key part of the announcement, the address to the nation last night, that needed clarification. Take a listen.
These prohibitions will not only apply to the tremendous amount of trade and cargo, but various other things as we get approval. Anything coming from Europe to the United States is what we are discussing.
So it's that mention of trade and cargo. In fact, that's not the case. This does not affect trade or cargo. Donald Trump later tweeting his own clarification, basically saying businesses should not worry. The restriction stops people, not goods.
Salima, the focus of the address seemed to be more on other countries. Why was there limited information, you could say, about what the United States is doing to address the outbreak right at home?
Yeah, that's right. This was very much about Donald Trump showing that he is taking the issue seriously and the outbreak seriously after his administration was roundly criticized for being slow in its response and a lack of testing for Americans to see if they do have the virus or not. And so this was more about the foreign influence. He called this a foreign virus that had come from China and spread then. And he talked about Europe being involved in that. Really not so much on the testing, and it was actually up to Mike Pence again this morning as he's doing the media rounds to say that, they are ramping up testing here and officials are working hour by hour to expand testing. So Trump really focusing on trying to reassure Americans, telling them to wash their hands, and also saying that this is a temporary moment of time and that it is not a financial crisis, although the markets perhaps beg to differ.
And we're watching those markets closely. Salima, painful. CBC Salima Shivji in Washington. The European Union released a statement on that U.S. travel ban. It criticizes Washington for failing to consult the EU about the decision. So here's their response. The coronavirus is a global crisis, not limited to any continent, and it requires cooperation rather than unilateral action. The European Union disapproves of the fact that the U.S. decision to impose a travel ban was taken unilaterally and without consultation. The European Union is taking strong action to limit the spread of the virus.